Olá pessoal, tudo bem com vocês? Aqui quem fala é o Dante, você está no canal The Vicious. E hoje, caras, vamos continuar a nossa série de Tales of Arise. Agora que finalmente descobrimos um pouco mais sobre o Alfin, o soberano e a donzela aqui, as almas de Rena. Mas ainda fica o mistério sobre aquela mulher de vermelho. Encontramos o Voran aqui, descobrimos que ele era, assim como o Alfin, também é um Daniano, que foi submetido a testes para ser o soberano. E agora vamos continuar então. Eu espero que estejam preparados. Obrigado pela sua paciência e pela sua presença e a confiança de deixar o gostei logo no início do vídeo. Bora bater 40 gostei, que eu sei que vocês conseguem. Se inscreva e ative o sininho, dessa maneira você não perde nenhum conteúdo. Se é novo por aqui, seja muito bem-vindo à comunidade de quem gosta de um bom RPG, para quem curte uma boa história. Se você tem condições e pode ajudar o canal, se torne um membro, assim como essa galera aqui que ajuda com o passar dos meses. E também tem aí a função Valeu demais aí, e assim você pode estar doando o que quiser para ajudar a manter o canal sempre na ativa, beleza? Let's go!
As for those red women, to think they were monsters all along.
Tell me about it. One minute they look perfectly human. Next thing you know, they're not actually human at all.
They definitely weren't Renan or Danon. I'm not even sure language would get through to them.
So what were they then? Human Zoogle hybrids?
Is the most terrifying thing anyone said all day.
How about you, Shion? Dohalim? You ever seen anything like that before?
No, never. However, if they're the same as the red woman we've seen with Volron, I think it's safe for us to assume they understand our language at the very least.
I had just so much I wanted to ask them. About Rena and Shion's thorns.
Unfortunately, they blew themselves up before we got the chance. Why would they do such a thing, though? To take us with them? Or in order to keep something hidden?
Both sound plausible to my ears. They took off with the Renis Alma too, remember?
Yeah, they did. And the next time we meet them, we're going to make sure they tell us everything they know.
Brabudo. Certo, cara, a gente tem passado por muita parte de... muita carga de fala mesmo, cara. É realmente muita fala nessa parte final do jogo aqui. Então, vamos ver o que nos aguarda à frente. Eu espero que não seja uma parte com tanta fala que nem o último episódio, cara, pra gente poder ter uma açãozinha, né? Só tivemos ação no fim do jogo, cara. Aí é triste games. Tem alguma coisa aqui pra cima? Nada surgiu aqui. Só vamos ter que voltar agora. Espero que o caminho de volta esteja cheio de batalhas, pro pau comer solta, caras. Essa área grande aqui que não tem nada. É só retorno mesmo, hein? É só retorno mesmo, hein? Jura, cara? Não vamos botar nenhuma porradaria? Não acredito. Eu não posso acreditar nisso. Vamos olhar. Eu tô com o meu life baixo. Batalha ali foi meio ferrenha. Ganhamos 16 mil de experiência na última batalha que tivemos. E olha que eu tô sem efeito da comidinha. Comidinha maluca. O jogo salvando automaticamente é porque vai acontecer alguma coisa. Nada. Aí o jogo te dando mais um Curie. Boa. Curou tudo. Vou mudar um pouco os personagens de batalha, tá? A gente tá muito viciado neles aí. Tá na hora de trocar um pouquinho, né? Acho que seria interessante até trocar ela, tá? Botar alguém de cura ali atrás. Preciso de um curandeiro, não tem como ficar sem. Botar os dois ali, vamos ver como é que a gente se vira. Vou ter que voltar pelo mesmo caminho que eu vim. E vai ter batalha. Ninguém? Ah, tem que ter, né? Bora, pro pau. Dale. Tome. É bem mais difícil, né? Claro. Tô mal acostumadinho com o personagem de... Ó, vai.
Stand back. I'll trip it up. Blow away. Prepare to be sealed. The flame inside me. Let's
Boa.
look sharp.
Tenebraid.
Be still. You're mine. You're on.
Tome. Pegou todos.
Take it down.
In an instant. Impact block.
Muito bom.
Onward and upward.
Uso menos PC, né? Porque daí tem menos mago na equipe. Logo. Nossa, tem um monte de cristal lá no fundo. Eu vou lá. E tem pra fazer armadura, meus queridos. Galerinha do mal. Não ficam focando em gente diferente, só vai. Do Hallen. Tava de tudo, do Hallen. Dale.
These ones can run rings around us.
Take this.
Bora.
Can't get out of this. Dragon Swarm. Talon Hurricane. Now or never. Dragon Swarm.
Hora de Dale.
Dragon Swarm. Swallow down. Shield and face. No further. I'm on a roll now.
Ah, fugiu seu vagabundo. Tava no chão jogado que nem uma porcaria ali. Não vai fazer nada. Nossa. O jogo fica bem mais difícil, né? Tenho meus apelão. Tenho meus apelão na equipe, a coisa fica mais tensa, né? O cara tava voando ainda. Tem meus apelãozinhos na equipe, a coisa fica mais tensa, né? Brilhantina.
Well, look who's in a bright and shiny mood.
Aí. E... beleza. Então com essa roupa branca agora aí, eu preferia a anterior, mas tudo bem. Tanto faz também. Perder um pouco a vantagem de experiência. E um pouquinho de bicho do caminho, né? As áreas estavam lotadas de monstros. Ah, esse bicho aí. Mas tudo bem, vamos. Só vai. Dale. Ele vai cair. O problema é que daí ela... a Shione tem que usar muito os poderes de cura dela. Eu não tinha teu escudo, pô.
No further.
I'm out of ammo. I'm ready to go.
Dragon Swarm.
I never miss.
I'll take you all on.
Tome.
Flare the Malisa.
Dragon Swarm.
I'm all fired up.
Dale.
I'm just getting started.
Pode parar.
Will this help?
Now or never. Take this. Dragon Swarm. I'm on a roll now. Severing Wing. Mirage. This one's all mine. Ignite.
No fim, eu tô gastando mais recursos do que tava com os dois. Não dá pra ficar só batendo, numa hora. Tenebraid. É.
Glacial Spear! Here's evil!
Destruction!
Flamer Dragon! Hear me! Flame of Fury! Burning!
Já era.
Lightning Tiger Blade!
Boa.
We won.
Muito pouca experiência. Não vale a pena. É só pra pegar as garras mesmo do bicho, porque tirando isso, não vale nem um pouco a pena a batalha.
Dragon Swarm!
Chato.
Now I'm in the groove! Hear me!
Bora.
Fury! Burning! Glacial Spear! Here's evil! Shield and Freeze Lancer! Hurricane! Where are you going? Not in your dreams! On guard!
Dragon Swarm!
Mas eu acho que uma das que mais faz falta é a menininha lá, porque ela realmente...
Make it rain!
Look sharp!
Ela dá um dano muito alto, a maguinha.
Hurricane Strike!
Tô sentindo falta de algum dano alto aqui. O bicho veio pelas minhas costas e tentou me acertar. Era.
Freeze Lancer!
Well then, let's keep moving.
Vamos melhorar esse, vamos trocar essa equipe. Tira ela, bota aqui. Aí. Vocês vão ver a diferença que já vai dar na equipe. Pode ver. Tô usando a Kizaru um pouco. Pô, faz tempo que eu não troco as habilidades dele, cara. Deixa eu ver aqui. Onda incineradora. Explosão do gume flamejante. Carrega o gume por mais tempo. Caramba. Depois eu vejo isso aí. Eu quero ver as Ars. Revoada de dragões. Isso aqui é bom. Destruction bom. Esse aqui é bom, esse aqui, cara. Esse aqui, lua giratória, é quando ele tá voando. Deixa eu ver aqui. Alterar o conjunto. Chuva de espadada. Esse aqui é ruim. Deixa eu ver aqui. Mega estocada sônica. Ó, tem muita habilidade que eu nem usei ainda. Lâminas do vácuo. Vamos testar essa aqui agora. Pra cá. Zona do Parque Civil. Voltamos para a área civil do jogo. Será que vai acontecer alguma coisa aqui?
What the? When did it get pitch dark all of a sudden?
The lights are all out. Think it has something to do with the explosion back in the Forbidden Zone? Doe?
You two.
Faria, Avakir. Thank goodness you're safe.
Avakir filled me in about everything. About how I ambushed you all.
She doesn't remember a thing. So she really was being controlled.
Vocês acreditam?
He told me about Tarnigan, too. Is it true?
What difference does it make? What's done is done.
Stop casting me off, just for once!
Faria, not now. It can wait. Dohalim, Lenegus is in grave peril.
So I can see.
It's the city's core reactor. It's damaged. Some of the basic systems we've managed to keep online, but complete restoration's still a way off.
You're an elite technician, though. You can fix it, right?
If so, then what's the problem?
What's the problem?
Panic's begun to set in among the citizens. Until now, whenever something like this happened, the Sovereign would issue a decree. But this time, not so much as a peep. Any longer, and we run the risk of riots breaking out before we can get things back up and running.
Forget the Sovereign. I doubt you'll be hearing from him anytime soon.
What's that supposed to mean? Do you know something I don't?
Suffice it to say, the Sovereign isn't the kind of ruler we thought he was. That is, if he ever even existed, which is looking doubtful at this stage.
Are you out of your mind? Why, if people knew that a lord such as yourself was whispering such blasphemy, they'd...
There's no time to explain now. It sounds like we need to find a way to keep Lenegus from spiraling out of control.
We need to stop that riot.
But how do we do that?
Riots feed on discontent and unrest, right? So if we want to keep the peace, We just need to put people's minds at ease.
At ease? Like by letting them hear directly from someone they trust. That's it. Who's the highest-ranking person in Lenegis right now?
Lenegis wouldn't have a next in line. After all, you said the Sovereign rules over everyone directly, right?
Correct. The closest thing to an authority figure would be a lord. And the only one left is... Ah. Very well then. Avakir, you mentioned a few facilities were still online. Which ones?
Beleza. Toma autoridade aí, Dohalim.
Why hasn't the Sovereign said anything?
Please, won't somebody explain what's going on?
Is it over? What's going to happen to all of us?
Heed me now, fellow Renans of Lenegis. It is I, Lord Dohalim Ilkaris of Eldaman and Sia.
Look, up there! It's Lord Dohalim!
Hold on! He should be in the crown contest! Shouldn't he? Why isn't the Sovereign talking to us?
The Sovereign is seeing to other matters right now. In my capacity as Lord, I speak to you in his stead. You're afraid. As people so often are when faced with the unknown. I hope you'll allow me to put your fears to rest. The city's core reactor has experienced a malfunction. However, we have our top engineers attending to the matter, and things will soon be back to normal. I know that you feel abandoned, perhaps more scared and alone than ever before. But I ask you all to keep one thing in mind. You are Lenegis, not the Lords and Sovereign. The solidarity of its citizens is the mortar that holds it together. If we don't allow ourselves to be distracted by our differences, if we put our hearts and minds together and stand as one, I am confident we will find new hope. I would be honored to stand with you. Not as a person of loftier rank, but as another human being among men. I hope that you'll lend me your strength, for if we can persevere as one, I know a bright tomorrow awaits.
Fazendo controle de estado agora?
Your speech seems to have done the trick. Looks like the city won't be descending into chaos after all.
I only pray the relief will tide the city over for the time being.
What you said earlier, about the Sovereign possibly not even existing, was it true?
It's still too premature to say with any certainty, but I believe so. This whole time, this world we've been fed was a lie, built on nothing but falsehoods.
But it can't all have been...
I can believe it. After everything I saw in the Forbidden Zone, what they did to Faria, it's the only explanation that makes sense.
But what about hierarchy, Avakir? Authority? The very foundations of Renan society? How can we live without someone to guide us?
I'd say we found someone capable of doing just that, wouldn't you?
You? You can't be serious.
I have business I must take care of first. But once everything is over, I shall return. But not as your sovereign, nor as a leader the likes of which the people here are used to, I think.
But how else do you propose to rule?
I'm not sure yet. All I have is a feeling that here in Lenegis, a new dawn is on the verge of breaking. One in which people won't be judged by birthright or on the power of their astral arts, but on other things. More important things. Things like, oh, I don't know, musical talent, for example.
When I bumped into you after all those years, I said you were no different. But I was wrong. Truth is, you were always different. I feel like maybe now I can finally begin to accept Turnagain's death. To see a future.
You go finish whatever it is you've got to do. I'll hold down the fort here in Lenegus till you get back.
Thank you.
I guess you're not going to make it to Menancia for the foreseeable future, huh?
Indeed. Forgive me.
The people of Elda Menancia can look after themselves just fine. It's the ones here on Lenegus who need someone to guide them. Besides, with you leading the people here, it'll help spread the idea of coexistence beyond Menancia's borders that much faster.
Sounds like you're in it for the long haul.
How could I not be, after the second chance that I've been granted? From this day forth, I shall dedicate myself to the future inhabitants of this world.
Valeu, dedinho.
Though the memories of the departed shall remain forever in my
E das pose.
Remember, you're going to be leading the people here, not ruling them.
True enough. Whatever would I do without you, Kisara?
With or without her, I suspect you're gonna have your hands full when the time comes. We should be heading back to the ship. Business on Rena awaits.
Dohalen, líder Renano. Brabo. Deixa eu ver aí, tem alguma coisa que eu posso aprender aqui? O que temos aqui? Aprende isso aí. Aumenta os pontos de vida que recuperam as artes de cura. Aumenta o dano causado a inimigos que foram derrubados. Esquiva a defesa perfeita mais fácil. Bônus para conclusão, defesa mais 50. Aprendeu tudo já esse safado. 4.000 pontos nós temos aqui. As barras de inimigo aqui. Aqui. Ganhamos perfuração mais 40. Vamos pro próximo. Toco infernal. Aí. 3.800. O que nós vamos aprender aqui? Revitalização, barriga cheia, recuperação de PC. Isso é bom, hein? Bom. Aqui. 4.640. Vamos aprender alguma coisa que ela ganha, hein? Olha lá, ó. Defesa mais 50. Ataque bestial. Agora vamos à pelônciazinha. Aqui, defesa elemental mais 50. É isso, por enquanto.
Looks like the people of Lenegus can rest easy.
I couldn't have done it without your words of encouragement, Law.
Hey, you're the one who made the speech.
I think everybody can share the credit here.
Tem mais uma fala aqui, vamos aproveitar.
In sense, when all is said and done, perhaps I have been a slave this whole time too.
You, a Renan lord? How do you figure that exactly?
I was complicit in the Renan system, bound by its values, resigned to being swept along, without the resolve to take a stand. And when I realized the severity of my mistake, all I longed for was punishment, a lord. And yet my first instinct was to place my fate in the hands of others.
I think I can relate. I couldn't stand watching my people bow and scrape their way through life, but I didn't know what else I could do about it either. The ability to think for yourself and be your own master, that's what separates a slave from a free person. At least, that's what Law's dad Zephyr used to say. Zephyr taught me how to fight. But in doing so, he also taught me how to live.
Even if it means stumbling along the way. If it's on a road of our own choosing, free of regret. Why, that's the road of freedom. Or, to put it another way, so long as his heart is compromised, even the loftiest of kings is no freer than a slave. I think I finally understand now. This Zephyr character sounds like he was a wise man indeed. I only wish I could have met him.
There's just so much I wish I could ask him, especially now. I wonder, have I been correctly carrying on the torch that he passed to me?
Começando do zero, vamos lá.
How long have you known?
Known what?
About the darkness I carry inside me. You seem to have been aware of it for quite some time now.
Why ask me now? What does it matter? But yes, I have. I've pretty much known that something was gnawing at you ever since we left Menancia.
So basically,
Melancia.
the very start of our journey then. Just when I thought I couldn't feel more ashamed.
Leave the past where it belongs. We have no need for it now. You're forging ahead. That's what matters. If my brother could see you, he'd be proud.
Not as proud as he would be of his sister, I'm sure.
Well then, just as well it's not a competition, huh?
Deixando o ninho, minha nossa.
Kisara? Anyone at home in there?
Sorry. Did I look distracted?
Among other things. To be entirely honest, I couldn't tell whether you were smiling or frowning.
You were thinking about Dohalim, weren't you?
That obvious, huh? I was just thinking how good it is to see him moving forward at last. It was always so infuriating, knowing how capable he could be if he just put his mind to it. A prisoner trapped in a cage of his own self-doubt. But now, he's finally beginning to spread his wings. I'm happy for him.
So, then why do you look so sad?
Oh, I don't know if I'd say sad. There's a bittersweetness to it, I guess. It's good and strange, knowing that he won't be needing me anymore. It probably sounds weird, doesn't it? I have this massive worry off my mind. I should be jumping up and down for joy, right?
Must be that maternal instinct of yours at work.
Rinwell's right. You're like a mother bird, finally letting go as her child takes his first shaking and nervous flight from the nest.
A pretty big child.
That's one way to look at it. I wouldn't like to see Dohalim's face if he heard you say that. All this has made me realize I can't allow myself to become a prisoner of my own making like he was. If Dohalim can forge his own path ahead, then I can too. I won't be left behind.
Deu? Meu Deus. Vou trocar esses trajes dela aqui agora. Guarda noturno. Bota tua roupinha normal, bota. Ah, do Hallen. Do Hallen. Esse aqui é legal, essa roupa dele aqui. Pode ser. Certo. Se Sua Excelência nos garante que não há nada com o que se preocupar, já me basta. Agora vai dividir bastante, vai dar conflitante, porque alguns apoiam os outros, né? Já vi de tudo na vida, mas nem eu jamais teria imaginado que seria um Lorde quem iria acabar salvando o Jane Leneges. Vai levar o tempo até que os distritos residenciais sejam reparados, mas a cidade está calma de novo, pelo menos por enquanto. Ainda assim, vendo ele tomar a liderança no lugar soberano, talvez ele ganhe o torneio de sucessão desta vez. Mas ainda acredito nesse torneio de sucessão, hein? Então era só isso, que alívio. Que homem esplêndido, aquele Lorde do Hallen. Eu conheci ele uma vez, quando era criança. Ele era uma pessoa bem diferente naquela época. Eu ainda tô abalado com o discurso dele. O que ele disse foi praticamente uma recusa às ordens que os lordes e soberanos devem seguir. Então, na verdade, as pessoas aqui eram mais... Pra conversar aqui e dormir. Não preciso dormir? Preciso? Preciso. Vamos dormir aqui. Vamos fazer o nosso negocinho de experiência de sempre. Opa, dormi choninho. E, cara, na verdade, era uma seleção natural, né? A pessoa que era mais forte era... Eu acredito que passava por testes também. Pra se tornar o soberano. Aí, Porco-aranha. Com certeza deve estar cheio de missão pra fazer no mundo lá. O jogo tá se encaminhando pra uma fase final. Então... possivelmente tem muita coisa aí. Forjar arma, deixa eu ver. 12 mil. História Renana. Já tá com o máximo, já tá com o melhor. Beleza. Então vai.
Have you guys checked your equipment lately?
Falar com a galera toda aqui. Ah, Lorde do Harlem. Ah, que bom quando eu vejo uma... Desgruda, cara. Quando eu vejo uma falinha assim curta, dá até uma alegria no coração. Ó, vai. Ah, vai ficar assim tão tranquilo. Vai dar ruim em algum momento. Não é possível. It's not possible que vai ficar assim tão tranquilos. Muito dano foi causado, mas agora que a energia voltou, tô em esperança de que tudo ficará bem. Lord Donhara insistiu para que trabalhássemos todos juntos. Deveríamos pensar no que fazer para ajudar a cidade. Muito bem, trabalhem juntos, seus bandos de burros. Aprendam a trabalhar em conjunto. Só dessa maneira se tornarão verdadeiros cavaleiros. O Lord Donhara conseguiu eliminar completamente o medo das pessoas, sem nem suar. Ele não é Lorde à toa. Pois é, nenhum espertinho vai fazer alguma coisa sem pensar duas vezes agora. Ele é incrível, seria bom se a sua excelência ficasse aqui para continuar liderando e guiando a gente. Um dia ele volta. Olha, curando ali. Cura. Nós vamos voltar lá para nossa nave. Zona Residencial 4. Jura que não vai dar nada, nenhuma porrada, não vai dar ruim em nenhum momento, cara. Pode mandar, manda aí, cara. Manda a galera cair na porrada aqui comigo. Área grande. Eu andei já um monte de quarteirão e não deu nada. Duvido. Fico contente de saber que o Lord do Harlem restaurou a paz e a ordem em Legendas. Eu não esperava menos de um dos nossos lords. No fim, não havia por que se preocupar. Pensa, rapaz, você tem que se preocupar comigo, rapaz. O pau comeu solto aqui mesmo, hein? Pai, o que o Lord do Harlem quis dizer quando disse solidariedade no discurso dele? Sinceramente, também não sei o que ele quis dizer com isso. Mas creio que foi o jeito dele de nos dizer para ignorarmos nossas diferenças de classe e nos unirmos para reconstruir a cidade. Diferença de classe quer dizer, tipo, esquecer as castas e as linhagens das pessoas? Isso mesmo, filho. Essa é a sabedoria de um Lorde. Faria bem a todos refletir sobre isso. As pessoas aqui são cegas como escravos mesmo, são comandadas. Alvora. Desprezível. Ah, só estava lendo sobre Voura. Eu posso ajudar? Não é muito fã dele, então? Sempre fui um apoiador fervoroso de Lord Urvage, o Hildred. Se ele não tivesse morrido de repente na superfície, eu ainda seria. Na minha opinião, o Lord Urvage é o verdadeiro Lorde d'Água. Não consigo acreditar que ele morreu em um acidente, como dizem. Nem venha me perguntar sobre como Voran comanda Ganad Harrows, ou sobre aqueles escravos danianos e até seus companheiros. Talvez a gente viva em uma sociedade na qual o vitorioso fica com isso. Tá falando a mesma coisa. É surpreendente a velocidade com que o Lord do Harlem foi capaz de restaurar a calma, só sendo solidário com o povo durante uma crise grave. Ele é Lorde que vem da casa e o caras. Não, devo admitir que algumas coisas que ele disse foram bem radicais. Pode ser, mas ele também parecia digno e cheio de confiança. Na minha opinião, ele é o que todo Renan deveria almejar ser. Aqui é a parte onde tinha as castas lá. Você não ouviu o que o Lorde disse? Parem de brigar imediatamente. Ah, perdão, não era minha intenção ir contra os desejos de Sua Excelência. O senhor está bem? Não está machucado em nenhum lugar, está? Você deveria estar falando comigo? Eu venho das castas mais baixas. Bobagem, é como Sua Excelência disse, tão brilhantemente. A cidade está em crise. Temos que deixar as diferenças de lado e cooperar. É coisa japonês. Japonês vai desse jeito aí. Estou tão feliz em ver que as coisas estão pouco a pouco voltando ao normal. Eu também, que bom que o Lord do Harlem tomou a liderança na hora certa. Mas tem algo que me preocupa. Como assim o soberano estava indisposto? E o que ele estava fazendo aqui em Legendas, em vez de estar em Dana? Provavelmente ele veio a pedido do soberano para ajudar a dar um fim na situação. Deve ser, do contrário, ele deveria dar alguma explicação por ter deixado seu posto. Parem de ficar tramando aí, Shiryu. Fiquem tramando e eu acabarei com vocês. Tô bem melhor depois de ouvir o Lord do Harlem falando como todo mundo. Eu acabarei com todos se continuar dessa maneira. E aí? Então a gente vai indo. Ela não mudou nada a fala. Vamos seguindo para a última área aqui. Zona Residencial. Estamos repassando por tudo novamente. Eu acho que eu poderia ter simplesmente me teleportado, né? Mas tudo bem. Parece que os egos estão sob controle de novo, ainda bem. Não faço ideia do que pode ter causado esse descontrole, mas isso deve ser resolvido em breve. Lord O'Halloran, o senhor voltou. Ah, vejo que trouxe ajudantes com você. O senhor se lembra de mim, seu meu Lord? Claro que sim. Até mais. Vai falar aquela porcariada de novo lá? Não, não vai não. Quem diria que um Lord ativo iria se meter e resolver o problema? Mas será que é seguro ele estar longe de seu reino? É incomum, com certeza, mas o Lord O'Halloran explicou bem a situação. Eu, no caso, fico grato por ele estar presente para nos ajudar. Parece que chegam cada vez menos feridos. Posso focar no que preciso de tratamento imediato. Tá, vamos caindo fora daqui, vamos. Que surpresa saber que o reator nuclear da cidade estava por trás de todo o problema, mas parece que a situação já está sob controle. Vamos aqui pra nave de volta. Já podemos voltar, caras. E nada aconteceu. Vai acontecer alguma coisa agora, não é possível. Not possibles. Not possibles que não vai dar nada. Voltaram pra nave.
I thought we'd find answers on Lenegus, but we just ended up finding more questions.
You can say that again. And now we have more problems to fix too. Like figuring out how to reform Lenegus.
That can wait for now. We've got more than enough on our plates to deal with as it is. Like figuring out who's really running the show on Rena.
Yeah. Which is why we're going to the Renan homeworld.
All the answers we've been looking for are on that planet. The person responsible for all this. The Red Woman and the Renaissance. The answers have to be there. Are we prepared to finally find them?
Let us go!
So, what do we do first when we get there?
We know nothing about the Renan homeworld or what we might face once we arrive. We should get a feel for how things are on the ground before we take any serious steps.
It's also entirely possible that the first thing we're going to face is an attack.
If we come across a capital, we should... What?
Chega de papo. Essa mulher aí, eu gostei dela. Ela não gosta de papo. Vem com papo, não. Não venha com papinho, nada de papo. Que é essa aí é das minhas. Já estão falando demais, vocês falam demais, vocês são muito enrolão.
Damn! The hell just happened?
Our course has been altered. The coordinates are pointing to a different destination.
What's that?
The ship's controls aren't accepting my commands. The engine is being shut down.
That's bad, right?
Quite bad. We've lost control of the ship.
Is all of this the Red Women's doing?
Are they trying to finish us off before we can land?
Everyone! Look there!
Que foi? Mostra pra mim. Nem planeta é essa porcaria. Isso. É só a viagem. Agora virou flor.
A flower blooming out of Rena?
But that flower looks like it's absorbing all of Dana's energy.
And it appears Lenegis is serving as a conduit for that energy to reach here. Could that have been its true purpose all along?
If that's true, do you think the people back on Lenegis are all right?
We can only pray that they are.
Damn it! Haven't they taken enough already? When is this going to end?
The Flower of Oblivion.
With everything that's happening, we need to get back to Lenegis. Is the ship still offline?
Unfortunately, yes. Even more so than when it lay dormant.
Can you fix it?
Starships are extremely complex machines. One wrong move while we're out here in space could very well cost us our lives.
So what? We're just stuck inside here, floating around? For how long?
I don't believe this.
I don't believe this.
Way, and now we're stuck here? We're watching Dana die before our eyes, and we have no choice but to sit here and starve to death?
Law, calm down! You're not the only one who's worried here.
Right. Sorry.
It's still too early to give up. There has to be a way to get out of this.
Alphen.
Now what?
The starship, it's back online?
No, this is different. Something is pulling our ship in towards it.
O que é isso aí agora, meu Deus?
We managed to get moving, but where are we?
It looks like Lenegis in here.
Do you think we might run into more Renans here? Or those red women?
Perhaps. Someone brought us here. The question is, who?
We haven't been ambushed, so that probably means they aren't hostile. Still, why would anyone want to bring us here?
Eles se perguntam demais. Vamos, meu filho, vamos.
Hey, Shion!
If they wanted to attack us, they could have done so while we were back on the starship.
É isso mesmo, alguém sensato. Para de papo, vão. Vão. Chega de conversa. Gentinha pra gostar de falar.
Ah, Shion, just in the nick of time. Here, lend me a hand while I...
No!
What the... Oh, right. The thorns. My bad.
No, I'm the one who should apologize. I overreacted.
Again, Law? Can't you even go a minute without putting your foot in your mouth?
Seriously, it's fine. I'd rather that than people feeling like they're walking on eggshells around me. Besides, I'm the one who should be vigilant about not touching you guys, not the other way around.
Actually, I've been meaning to ask. Not being able to touch people, does it ever get lonely sometimes?
I guess I never really thought about it in those terms. It was either accept it for what it was or come undone. Before long, it was just part of my everyday reality. I think I even forgot there was another way to live. Which isn't to say I didn't feel alone. I did. Always.
So numb to your reality, you couldn't even recognize it as loneliness? I don't know how you managed.
It's fine. I know I'm not alone anymore.
But I can't even touch you. No way of lending you a shoulder when you're down? Even Alphen.
I appreciate the concern. Until I get rid of these thorns, I guess I'll have to put up with it just a little longer. But not forever. Alphen promised me that. Maybe it'll be soon, maybe it won't be. But either way, the day will come. And I'll be ready when it does.
Yeah, just hang in there. One day, we'll share a big warm hug. You'll see. I promise.
Boo! Ah! What the? Are you out of your mind? This isn't the time for games, Rinwell.
Oh, come on. How am I supposed to resist with you looking all jittery like that?
It's called experiencing feelings appropriate to the situation. You ought to try it sometime.
Yeah, but seeing you act all nervous, you're making me start to feel nervous too.
Oh, sorry.
Staying alert is important, but too much caution can cloud your judgment. Try to strike a balance.
Deu? Pelo amor dos meus filhos, fala demais, Shiryu! Meu Deus, tem mais! Eu não acredito! Esse jogo é bacalha!
Yeah, our planet's really not doing too hot right about now.
I've only ever seen Rena from the surface of Dana, so I figured it was just another round planet like ours. Still though, I never would have imagined Rena actually looked like that. And what's the deal with that giant flower coming out of it?
Beats me. I have absolutely no clue. It's so surreal. It looks like a broken egg or something.
Rena and Dana. We were taught that both worlds were spherical bodies that floated amongst the stars in the heavens. But to think that they lied to us not only about the Sovereign and the Crown contest, but also the form of our own planet.
Dohalim.
Okay, who's the wise guy that summoned us here?
Someone formidable enough to bring our starship along with us.
They must be here somewhere. Let's find them.
That beam of light joining Dana and Rena. It was the Renan side that it first came from, right?
That's what it looked like. And then the Danon side responded.
Perhaps it was some kind of directive from the Renan homeworld? To reawaken the Wedge and Lenegis?
Which would mean that whoever's behind all this is on Rena after all. But what are they after? Is it really worth going through all this trouble just to steal Dana's energy?
Try to stay calm. With so many factors we don't understand, dwelling on it won't get us anywhere. What is it?
No, it's just... Zephyr once told me the same thing. So much for me making progress, huh?
You made it this far, didn't you? You notice something, you change it. That's all anyone can do. But you can't stand still in the meantime.
Eles perderam um pouco a cadência aqui no final do jogo, caras. Eles... Tem 3. Não está insensível. Nível central. Eles perderam um pouco a cadência entre conversa e... Cara, complicado. Carambas. Como eu tava falando, eles perderam um pouco a cadência entre questões de conversa, diálogo e batalha aqui no final do jogo, cara. Ficou muito texto, muita conversa. Fico preocupado porque parece que estão tentando alongar uma coisa, né? E não tem necessidade disso, cara. Não precisa alongar nada no jogo. O jogo tá indo muito bem. Já tem umas boas horas de gameplay. Não precisa alongar nada, cara. Tá ótimo do jeito que tá. Mas que desgraça. O que nos espera aqui, cara?
This place looks a lot like that room we saw back in the Forbidden Zone.
Huh? What's that?
Isso é uma mulher de vermelho?
A red woman in disguise. Or is this their true form?
So it was a trap?
It doesn't look like it can move. Tell me, are you the one who brought us here?
That is correct. It is unusual for me to have unexpected guests these days.
It can talk.
What are you?
Hevrect 35.
Hevrect 35. Is that your name?
Correct.
What is this place? No, wait, before that, just what exactly are you? Are you somehow associated with the Red Women?
Before I answer, I have a question for you. How did you all arrive in this sector?
We did not come to this place by choice. Our ship was brought here against our will, by a group of red women who can shift into the same form as you.
In that case, we can assume my brethren who serve the Great Spirit have deemed you all to be a threat most grave.
What do you mean, serve? Are you saying there really is someone more powerful than the Red Women, pulling their strings?
What did you do to us?
I examined your bodies. You have not been harmed in any way. Identifiers detected. The Sovereign and Maiden are among you. However, you aren't under its control. I see why they viewed you as a danger now.
Oh goody, more riddles.
Do you think we can trust this thing?
Like it or not, it may be our best chance at a ticket out of here. Let's at least hear it out.
Ele vai mandar a gente investigar o resto da nave porque tá faltando alguma coisa. Querem ver?
We are Helganquil. The red women you encountered previously are a form of disguise we employ from time to time, but not our true form.
Helganquil?
You are on Date Phasol, a celestial base which drifted here by accident. The will of Rena's great spirit no longer reaches us here. Since my sudden separation from the Great Spirit's influence, I have used any and all means to extend my lifespan. As I have done so, I have also set out to monitor and research Rena and Dana from this position.
A question. What is this great spirit of which you speak? Is it something that rules over your kind?
Correct. The Great Astral Spirit is a large mass of astral energy that fills all of Rena, one with its own will, a voice we cannot refuse.
A voice? Just like Dana.
The voice of the Great Spirit speaks to our hearts directly, and we have served it without question throughout the ages.
Does that mean it was controlling your minds? Wait a second. Could this Great Spirit be the true Sovereign of Rena?
The true ruler of Rena. It could be the same thing that's controlling Volron.
Wait, back up. You're telling us this great spirit of yours is the one that ordered you things to harvest the astral energy from Dana? I'm not sure I believe that.
Why not? We've already made contact with the will of Dana back in the Wedge, and in the Forbidden Zone on Lenegus. If Dana has a will of its own, I don't see why Rena wouldn't.
Maybe not, but think about what you're saying. If Dana has a will like Rena, then that would mean that we've been controlled by the voice of Dana this whole time, just like these things.
Dana's will hasn't been forcing us to do anything.
Yeah, but...
Let's assume that what Hevrect 35 claims is true, and that we are indeed cut off from both planets. Even if we had previously been under the control of Dana's will, we would have noticed now that we are disconnected.
Your fear is not based in logic. The voice of Dana is much smaller and quieter compared to that of Rena's Great Spirit. Rena's astral energy is amassed at its center, whereas Dana's is shared among all its constituents. So thinly is that energy spread that it cannot coalesce and formulate a will. Our findings here indicate as much.
Which explains why we felt its will where we did. The wedge and Lenegis are where so much of that energy had been accumulated.
The Great Spirit's desire is to consume all astral energy. And the pursuit of that desire is why you see Rena in its current state. As a result, it has turned its attention toward Dana.
Is that why the crown contest is necessary? So that the Great Spirit can feed off of Dana?
Indeed. And it was to that end that we Helganquil devised the crown contest. Had the initial spirit channeling from 300 years ago succeeded, all of Dana's astral energy would have been seized.
But the ceremony failed. Lenegis was severely damaged, and you lost both the Sovereign and the Renasalma.
Correct. A change in plan was required to ensure the spirit channeling's success. However, recreating the Renis Alma required a vast amount of energy. That is why we turned to Dana.
So that was the real purpose behind the crown contest. An efficient means to harvest the necessary energy from Dana.
This is all happening because of me.
Nevertheless, you still haven't answered one of Alphen's original questions. Just why have you brought us here to your base, Hevrecht 35?
First, it was to confirm the identities of you, my unexpected visitors. Second, it was to ascertain
será que eu acertei?
to accept my request.
A request? But what could someone like you want us to...
I wish for you all to slay the Great Spirit.
I'm sorry, did you just ask us to kill your master?
I did. It is in your best interest that you do so, I might add.
What makes you say that?
Lenegis has entered the final stage of the spirit channeling plan. As we speak, Dana's energy is being harvested en masse and transmitted to Rena. If nothing is done about the Great Spirit, it will not be long before all is lost.
You're saying the destruction we saw earlier is just the beginning? That...
We won't let that happen.
Why do you want us to kill the Great Spirit so badly? Is it to save our world? To free you, Helganquil, from under its control? Why?
No. My primary concern is validating our findings and analysis, which have taken many years to realize. As such, it is my desire to see how your actions impact and change these systems. However, I will not deny that vengeance also plays a part.
Vengeance? For what?
In spite of our long service to the Great Spirit, our species is on the brink of extinction.
You mean... you're dying?
At this stage, it would be wise for you to talk with the others. Ask them what you need to know. Once you have your answer, return to me. If you agree to help, I shall fix your ship.
Others? Just how many of you are there?
I am the only Helganquil who inhabits Dake Faisal.
Hey! Hey!
It's no use. I think it's done talking to us. Let's take a look around.
Será que eu adivinhei? Ah, não me diga. Clichês, clichês. Já estou tão acostumado com esse xoxinho, esses joguinhos de RPG. Mas é isso, caras. Mais uma vez um episódio cheio de conversa, cheio de história. Mas RPG é isso, né? A gente tem que se contentar e aceitar, porque é disso que nós gostamos, não é mesmo? Então, deixa o gostinho, se inscreva, ative o sininho e nos vemos então no próximo episódio com mais respostas de Tales of Arise. Falou!